They conduct field work. Yes, if you are interested at working outside, you like to you do the traveling and do adventure, and you can collect and investigate the nature. And for example, this one, the example is the collecting of the from the soil. They are determining data collection methods, or they are collecting data from the environment. And after they collect the data, they analyze them. This could be the data from the samples of the soil, water, air, and other materials. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you for attending a webinar series of Career Counseling Department of Fatih Bilingual School. For today, it is Introduction to Careers A to Z, which is now we are in the E alphabet, which is the Environmental Scientist. It is the career that we are going to explore today. Thank you for joining the webinar on time. So while waiting for others to join the webinar, please answer on the chat. So what is an environmental scientist? So maybe you know some term. What is environmental scientist? You can guess what does it mean. Okay, so what is let me write it on the chat. What is environmental scientist? So you can guess whether it is related with the engineering, or is it related with the science, or with the biology, or is it related with the some environment and so on. Okay, you can write the definition or some words that are related with the with this career. Okay, let's wait for your answer. All right, so some of you has written here that it is for the science, chemistry, yes, and also biology. Yes, that's correct. And then some of you write engineer. Yeah, it is kind of related with the engineer also. The ones that we have studied from now, the careers, they are also related with the engineering. All right, so thank you for your participation. So the environmental scientists, they are the scientists, of course. So they are the researchers that figure out what is in the air, water, and soil. So if you are talking about the environment, this not only in the soil, this not only something around us. We also has the scope of in the air, and also in the water, in the terrestrial and the aquatic environment. So this their job is to figure out how to make sure that the environment is safe. So it's safe in many sectors, and then they also give advice on how to clean the environment. We know that the environment, not all of the environments cleaned, so it must be cleaned, and they must give the advice how to clean the environment effectively. For example, they might design a safe way to get rid of trash. So we know that there are trash or the rubbish in the river, in the major cities. So they have to design how to minimize or remove the trash from the system, from the river, for example. And then some of them, they also mix environmental science with other sciences, such as chemistry or biology. And this one, the environmental chemists, for example, they find out if different chemicals hurt the environment. It can pollute the environment. So how about the environmental biologists? They focus on protecting animals and plants. So in the environmental scientists, there are also for the biologists, for the chemists, and also for the physicists, they can regulate the law, how to protect the environment for us. All right, so for today, we are going to discuss three outlines. The first one, what they do. So it is the description of the career of the environmental scientist. And then the second one, the qualification, which are what are the requirements to to be the environmental scientist. And then the third one is how to become one. So we are going to discuss the education, the bachelor degree, and also the master degree, and the university that have this degree for the environmental science to become the environmental scientist. All right. So the first one, what they do, I think it is better before we discuss about this career about environmental scientist. I think it is better if we can look at the science or the subject of environmental science. So what is environmental science? So we are going to discuss this one, and we are going to watch the video from the YouTube. What is environmental science? Okay, I think it's pretty interesting to study about this science. It's not only you study biology, but you also combine other multidisciplinary subjects like chemistry, and also the physics, and also the engineering subjects. All right, so let's watch this video.
What do you think would happen if all of the trees in the rainforest were cut down, or if chemicals were spilled in a river, or if snow and rainfall increased drastically? These are some of the many topics that are studied in the field of environmental science. Overall, environmental science is the field of science that studies the interactions of the physical, chemical, and biological components of the environment, and also the relationships and effects of these components with the organisms in the environment. The field of environmental science can be divided into three main goals, which are to learn how the natural world works, to understand how we as humans interact with the environment, and also to determine how we affect the environment. The third goal of determining how humans affect the environment also includes finding ways to deal with these effects on the environment. Environmental science is also referred to as an interdisciplinary field because it incorporates information and ideas from multiple disciplines. Within the natural sciences, such fields as biology, chemistry, and geology are included in environmental science. When most people think of environmental science, they think of these natural science aspects. But what makes environmental science such a complex and broad field is that it also includes fields from the social sciences and the humanities. The social science fields that are incorporated into environmental science include geography, economics, and political science. Philosophy and ethics are the two fields within the humanities that are also included in environmental science. By combining aspects of the natural sciences, social sciences, and the humanities, the field of environmental science can cover more concepts and also examine problems and topics from many different points of view. At this current time, the world around us is changing at a very rapid pace. Some changes are beneficial, but many of the changes are causing damage to our planet. The field of environmental science is a valuable resource for learning more about these changes and how they affect the world we live in. Let's examine a major change that is currently occurring and its relationship to environmental science. The large change is the dramatic increase in the number of humans on Earth. For most of human history, the population has been less than 1 million people, but the current population has skyrocketed to over 7 billion people. This equals out to 7,000 times more people. Due to this increase in the human population, there has also been an increase in pressure on the natural resources and ecosystem services that we rely on for survival. Natural resources include a variety of substances and energy sources that we take from the environment and use. Natural resources can be divided into renewable and non-renewable resources. Renewable natural resources are substances that can be replenished over a period of time, such as sunlight, wind, soil, and timber. On the other hand, non-renewable natural resources are substances that are in finite supply and will run out. Non-renewable resources include minerals and crude oils. Due to the increase in the human population, natural resources are being used up at a more rapid rate than in the past. Although renewable natural resources can be replenished, when they are used too rapidly, they cannot be replenished fast enough to meet human demand. Even worse, when non-renewable natural resources are used too rapidly, they become closer to running out completely and being gone forever. Natural resources have been referred to as the merchandise produced by the environment. And in this respect,
Alright, so for these natural resources, and then we have many non-renewable resources in the earth. So the environmental scientists will study about this, and also try to find the ways how to conserve and protect this environment. So it is very important here for the environmental scientists. They can also design and find the solution for the problems that occurs in our society, especially in our environment. Okay, so it is very interesting in the video. It's not only about the science, but also the environmental science. It also study about the social. So it is the interaction within the people, and there is also from other sectors. All right, so now we know what is environmental science. So then let's see what they do as the environmental scientists. All right, as the general, the environmental scientists, they identify hazards or dangerous chemicals to the environment or to health of the earth inhabitants, which is not only the human beings but also for other organisms. For example, this hazard or the dangerous thing is pollution. Yes, we know about the pollution, the air pollution, soil pollution, water pollution, and so on. So the environmental scientists, they help create solutions to protect the environment by eliminating these hazards or dangerous things, or at least they try to decrease their harmful effects. So we know that because of the increasing the population of human beings to 7 billion, from 1 million, it increased into the 7 billion. So it increased drastically. So they must try how to conserve the environmental factors, like for example the ecosystems, the inhabitants, of course, like the animals and plants. All right, so they in the environmental scientists, they also collect data. So we are going to discuss in the detail later on. So they also provide the guideline to the public. So this is very important. They also work with the government and also the NGO, non-government organization, how to save the environment. All right. So the first one, what they do, environmental scientists, as you can guess here from this figure, they are determining data collection methods, or they are collecting data from the environment. And after they collect the data, they analyze them. This could be the data from the samples of the soil, water, air, and other materials. So that there are the different types of the specialists in the environmental scientists, because we know that for the environmental scientists, it is a broad category of the career, including climate change analysts, environmental health and safety specialists, environmental restoration planners, industrial ecologists, and environmental chemists. So they have a broad category for the careers. It's not only for the biologists, but also for the chemists. And the exact duties will vary depending on their specialties. So when you are entering the environmental scientist field of work, you will focus. You also focus on some research or some for the category, like to analyze the climate change, or for the environmental health, or for pollution, and so on. Okay, that's the first one. And the second one, what they do, environmental scientists, they conduct field work. Yes, if you are interested at working outside, you like to you do the traveling and do adventure, and you can collect and investigate the nature. And for example, this one, the example is the collecting of from the soil, from the sediment, from the stone, from the groundwater, and other media contamination. We know that from the soil, from other media that we have in the earth, they contain also other organisms like the microorganism, bacteria. So are they harmful for the human being, or they have the benefits for the human being. So they can conduct this field work to investigate many things that are related with the job of environmental scientists. All right, so what's next? Just to be the environmental scientist, they also develop plans to prevent, control, or fix environmental problems. Yes, we know that there are many environmental problems around us. So as the students now, also as the human being in the world, we have to keep our environment clean. That's important. But also we have to be able to help by finding the solution, or we can do, for example, like cleaning the environment around us. So it is not good to only leave the situation to the environmental scientists, but we also, as the human being, we have to keep our environment clean. Okay, so they can develop plans to control or fix the environmental problems. Like the example is from the trash or the rubbish, and then they can pollute the water, so they can infect the drinking water for the people. And then the next one, it is the environmental scientists also perform program research, planning and development. So permitting compliance monitoring, inspection, especially if it is in the governmental sectors. If there is the government facilities, they need the maintenance, and then will the effect of these facilities will have the effect to the environment, and then they can analyze about the water. For example, here we also have the PDAM for the drinking water for the government facility. They can also conduct the analysis or the research. They can monitor and inspect this facility to know, is it safe for the people, or is it safe for the environment, or it has effect for the environment. So it's very important to do this research program, and also the planning and development. All right, next is environmental scientists also. They also write reports. So if you want to be an environmental scientist, it doesn't mean that you only go outside collecting the data and sample. You are having fun outside, but also to analyze the data that you collect is also important, because you have to present the data as the research result, or into the government, or into the media, so that you can let everyone knows about the problems, about the environmental issues. Okay, so this report must be present the research findings and guidance to the stakeholders. For example, in some companies, so you can present the data, and then they can make the new policies regarding the environment. All right, so another one, what they do is they provide guidance to the public, and then government, organizations, and business to mitigate environmental and health hazards. Yes, so we know that in the business sectors, like when you are building a new factory, or the new, the new business sector near for example, in the forest, or near the water source. So you have to analyze, will the results of this building or this factory will destroy the environment, because there is from the government also has the regulation. So we cannot by ourselves we build a building or the factory without the consent from the government. So they have to consider to mitigate the environmental and health hazards. So it is very important. Is it dangerous or not? All right, so I hope that you have the idea of what is about this environmental scientist. Before I continue to the qualification, I think it is better to watch a video about the daily life of environmental scientists. So what they do, okay? I think this pretty interesting. What they do, for example, from the daily life in the work, in the job. All right, so let's see. This one is a video. It is from the day life in the life at EWI, Environmental Scientist. All right, so let's watch the video.
Here at Environmental Works, I'm one of our environmental scientists and also one of our CAD technicians. I've worked at Environment for almost 3 years now. I don't think there really is a typical day here at this work because every day is full of variety and every project is different. Typically, I work on gas station remediation sites and occasional pipeline sites. I usually work all across Missouri and travel mostly in state. So far, I've not had to travel out of state. I typically work 40 to 50 hours a week with the occasional 50 to 55 hours. There is no typical day at this job. Every day is different. You know, some days are easier than others. Some weeks are longer than others. It all depends on each project. With the projects I handle that requires any site characterization for the sites, site conceptual models, requires gathering and collecting data in the field, and then when I return to the office, get to compile all that data and put it together and creating a site diagram and proposed maps along with other maps help create the story of what's going on in the project. My favorite part about this job is getting to work with other people here that share the same interest in natural sciences, and getting to work with those type of people make the day a lot better. There's not really a least favorite part to this job that I just despise, but billing for the projects takes quite a bit of time to put together, and you have to be very diligent before you put those invoices out to our clients. You could potentially have a full week of physical labor just being out in the field, and then sometimes you'll have a full week of just in the office. It just varies. But when you're in the field, you have to be aware that you might be lifting heavy objects, helping a driller lift some drill rods or bags of bentonite and carrying them around the site. You have to be aware of your surroundings, and at times you're driving a truck with a trailer behind it, and you have to be aware of those surroundings, and it depends on what equipment you're hauling and what supplies you take. You constantly have to be flexible with this job. You have to be ready for anything. Your phone can ring at any time, and then you're sent out in the field, and you have to stop what you're doing, but you also have to pick up where you left off on your projects. There's never a day that we don't turn down work. If it's rain or shine, we'll work in the field.
Oke, jadi luar biasa ya. Jadi untuk pekerjaannya tidak mengenal waktu. Okay, so you have to work anytime, 24 hours a day, and then this working on the outside in the field, but also it is required that you have to work not only in the field but also in the office to analyze the data. So that is also important for this job. Okay, all right. So I think that you had the idea for this one. So let's continue for our material here. So let's move to the next one for the qualification. So in the qualification, we study in which are part of the qualification, like the skills and also the requirements to be environmental scientist. All right, so let's see the second part. It is qualification. So the first qualification is the excellent written and verbal communication skills. So it is very important to have the communication skills, because you work among the people, with other people, and you have to present the data to other people. So you have to be able to communicate very well. And then the second qualification is you have to have this skill, critical thinking. Yes, critical thinking is very important to solve the problems, to analyze, also the communication. So you will need the ability. For example, there are some the solutions from a problem. So you have to think how to find the solution in a different point of view. And then the second one is you have to be able to analyze your research findings. So it is the analytical skills. So you have to understand the colleagues of findings. For example, they are the finding from the pollution. They have the samples data. So you have to understand these findings. And then the third one is the self-discipline, because it is not working independently, so it is working in the team. So you are required to be very focused and motivated, but sometimes you work independently. You work alone for researching and collecting the data. So you have to be have the self-discipline. And then the next is problem solving. Yes, it is like like I told you before, the critical thinking. So it's related with the strong problem solving skills. So and then after that, let's continue to the next outline. It is the third one, how to become one, which is the education. So what education or what university degree is required? You can get a job in environmental scientist if you are graduated from environmental science degree, is the bachelor degree of environmental science, and then from the biology also possible, from the chemistry, physics, geoscience, or the environmental engineering. Okay, teknik lingkungan ini ya, ilmu lingkungan hidup. So you can study these college majors to become the environmental scientist. But the bachelor degrees is the standard, but you can also take the master degree in order to become the expert in specific area of the environmental scientist. For example, you are interested in the climate change. For example, you want to be a climate change analysis scientist. That's why you have you can take the master degree after the bachelor degree in order to study about the climate change. Okay, that's also possible. All right, and then in the TS World University ranking for environmental studies 2020, the first rank is from the Stanford University in USA, and then the Harvard University, USA, MIT, and then Oxford in UK, and also the ETH in the Switzerland, and also the Cambridge University in UK. So many popular university in the world, they have these environmental studies in their universities because they know that it is very important to study about the environment, and the jobs for the environmental scientists are always required or needed by any institution or companies, because they have to have the insight or also the advice from the environmental scientists when they are doing something that is related with the environment. Alright, and then kita lihat di Indonesia jurusan ilmu lingkungan itu ada atau teknik lingkungan ya. Itu ada pada Universitas 11 Maret, ada Universitas Negeri Semarang, contohnya UNES. Mereka punya jurusan ilmu lingkungan, atau di ITENAS atau di Universitas Pertamina. Ini banyak sekali yang lain. Jadi di banyak sekali universitas yang mempunyai jurusan khusus tentang ilmu lingkungan. Ini sebagian saja yang punya program detail tentang jurusan ilmu lingkungan. Okay, so you can explore about this university, about this degree, jurusan ilmu lingkungan, jurusan teknik lingkungan, by exploring the studies of this college major. Alright, so before I end this session, let me look at from the Q&A if there's any question. Okay, there is a question here that is asked about what are the requirements to be the environmental scientist. Yes, so I have covered before some requirements or qualification to become the environmental scientist, but at least you understand about the biology and the chemistry, the science. After that, you have to be able to have the like the critical thinking skills and also problem solving skills. I hope that you can explore more about this career environmental scientist. Okay, you know there are many job opportunities to become the environmental scientist. All right, so thank you for your attendance for this webinar series. Don't forget that to fill this evaluation form in the bit.ly/evaluation ITC. You will also get the e-certificate of attendance. The e-certificate will be sent to your email. Jadi teman-teman di sini yang ikut webinar akan mendapatkan sertifikat juga, akan dikirim ke email kalian. Oke. So thank you very much for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.